Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. Today we're going to be talking about Chroma and my Chroma CONQUEROR'S HAKI build. This build consists of me pairing Chroma with the Helminth ability Gloom. On top of that, my Chroma actually has 8 Forma as well as 5 purple Archon shards. Now, the 8 Forma and 5 purple Archon shards are really not necessary for the CONQUEROR'S HAKI build. It's mainly the fact that I got Gloom, but you know, Chroma's the main Warframe, so definitely gotta hook him up, you feel me? With all that out the way, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Chroma and go over his kit, starting with his passive. His passive is very simple. It just allows you to get an extra jump as well as an extra bullet jump. But on top of that, his passive also has another effect, which is that your primary emission color actually determines the elemental attribute for elemental ward starting aura. For this build in particular, my emissive will be set to white so we can get the cold elemental attribute. Now normally whenever you're playing Chroma, this is not necessarily that big of a deal because you can actually swap elements thanks to his first ability, but for this build we actually ended up replacing his first ability Spectral Scream with the Helminth ability Gloom. With this ability you straight up have a darkness aura that slows enemies within range, and this ability also grants lifesteal for damage that you deal with weapons and abilities while this ability is active. The enemies don't even have to be in range for them to be affected by the lifesteal. It's amazing. And this definitely gives the build the name CONQUEROR'S HAKI. All my One Piece fans already know what's up, but for those who don't know, in a nutshell you could call CONQUEROR'S HAKI overwhelming presence, which is definitely fitting for my GOAT Chroma. Next up we got his second ability, Elemental Ward. This ability is an aura of elemental energy that provides both an offensive and defensive buff. As mentioned earlier, I'm not actually able to swap through all the elements with Chroma like normal because we ended up replacing his first ability. So depending on what your primary emission color is set to will actually determine which elemental aura you get with this buff. And again, as mentioned earlier, since I went with the white primary emission, we get the cold elemental attribute, which in return gives us the cold elemental ward aura. With the cold attribute on this ability, Chroma and allies are surrounded by a layer of frost that increases base armor, and it also creates an ice shield that reflects incoming damage back to its original source. And both the reflected damage and status chance are affected by ability strength, making cold a really viable option on Chroma. Next up we got his third ability, which is definitely his most iconic ability, Vex Armor. With this ability, Chroma enters a state of primal rage that gives him 2 buffs. The first buff is called Scorn. Every time you lose shields, you gain armor, and you can also gain armor through melee kills. And the second buff is called Fury. Every time you lose health, you gain a base damage buff for both your weapons and abilities on Chroma. And you can also get the Fury buff by getting ranged kills, and the amount you get is actually doubled if you get a weak spot ranged kill. This ability right here is of course what makes Chroma so goated, especially if you're an Exodia Contagion user like me, and this ability right here is just a really great way to make any weapon that you bring even better. Plus on top of that, you'll always have all the armor you need to stay alive. And lastly, we got his final ability, Effigy. With this ability, Chroma sheds his outer pelt, converting it into an elemental energy sentry. The pelt will just literally float there and do elemental damage. On top of doing elemental damage, the sentry will also ragdoll enemies. As far as the mod setup goes, for the aura mod, I got Brief Respite, an absolutely goated aura mod because every time you use an ability, you will gain shields back in return. In my Excellence mod slot, I got Power Drift so I can get a little bit extra ability strength as well as some extra knockdown resistance. Then I got Blind Rage for extra ability strength as well as Augur Secrets, Amar's Hatred for extra ability strength and armor, and then I got Transient Fortitude and Umbral Intensify for extra ability strength as well. And then I got Umbral Vitality for extra health, Umbral Fiber for extra armor, and then Primed Flow for extra energy. For the Arcanes, I got Molt Augmented so I can get extra ability strength per kill, and this stacks all the way up to 250 times. And then I got Arcane Energized so I can have a chance of getting extra energy every time I pick up an energy orb. This build is absolutely amazing because it utilizes Chroma's high armor that he already has and adds an ability that slows down enemies and heals him on top of that. That is just absolutely goated. Of course, as a Chroma player, it's only natural if you lose a little bit of health during the mission, so having an ability like Gloom that not only gives you lifesteal, but that can also help you crowd control enemies super easily is an absolute W combination on the Dragon Warframe himself. But yeah guys, that's pretty much gonna be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of Chroma as well as my Chroma CONQUEROR'S HAKI build down below. Before this video ends, real quick, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support on the channel. Y'all are absolutely awesome and I really do appreciate all the support. Yeah guys, that's gonna be it for me. Keep your head up, stay positive, and with that being said, thanks for watching.